And the story starts with, a woman holding her sword stood in the heavy rain, facing a group of martial arts in the mask, holding their sword to kill her, and this situation took place in front of Northern King's palace, and they are intentionally waiting to kill her. She, by using her sword, emanated a strong intense amount of energy around her, and killed them all in a single move. We get to know she is Nangong Chio, the first war goddess of Dixia, and we see a person coming from that palace. He, by seeing her, mocking asked, apart from being a first war goddess of Dixia, there is nothing special about her. He tells her, if not for the Deshue dragon cavalry's relentless advance through his cities and slaughter his fighters, she would never set her foot in his place. We get to know he is Bei Mang, a war god of Northern King Palace. By hearing to his words, she immediately pointed her sword towards him, and asked him, if she killed him here, does it consider enough to join Dragon Cavalry, as the Swordmaster's personal guard, and deep inside her thought, she thinks to end her engagement with the loser Lu Wu Wei. She immediately rushed at him with the strong intention to kill him. By pointing her sword towards him, he by using his fingers stopped her sword attack, and pushed her with great force, which led her to crash to the wall nearby, and she got collapsed to ground, which made her split some blood from her mouth. Bei Mang walked close by holding her sword. Sardonically says her, as the sword looks good, but it's waste to be in her hands. By seeing this situation, the only thought came to her mind was she had no chance to join Dragon Cavalry in her lifetime, and she fallen to the unconscious state. He, with a smug expression on his face, ceased to use her to his enjoyment, but he suddenly sensed the sword in his hand emanating a golden aura. We see a guy in black dress, calling that sword, and the sword to his command, fallen into his hand. He was standing in front of Bei Mang holding that sword. Bei Mang gets shocked by knowing he was the Swordmaster of Dixia, and he was here to kill him. Bei Mang started shouting at him, but he, without listening to his shit, using his sword immediately killed him. Bei asked the Swordmaster for his name before he died. He introduced his real name to Bei. Now we get to know his name was Lu Wu Wei, who was our main protagonist, and also Swordmaster of Dixia. Wu Wei threw that sword near her. She, in unconscious state, couldn't properly sense who was in front of her, and fallen to asleep immediately. Wu Wei, by seeing her in this state, thought, just newly promoted to war god, and yet she was ready to join Dragon Cavalry by challenging Bei Mang. He see her as a fool with talentless, but considering to her efforts, he gives her an invitation to enter Dragon Cavalry training camp, as a small favor to her, and asked her to show the dragon token to Commander Chu, once she enter into the camp. And the scene shifted to a barbecue shop, where Wu Wei happily enjoying his meal. As flatbread with scallions really taste good, we see two women entering into the shop. The girl with blue hair was Morong Shui, heiress of Morong clan, and girl beside her with brown dress is Song Meiqiao, heiress of the Song family. Shui says Meiqiao, as her idol, first female goddess of Xia. Nangong Chio had just slain the northern barbarian, god of war, and they sat beside Wu Wei's table. Meiqiao seemed very happy, as her idol Nangong Chio was going to be personal guard of Swordmaster, where only peak war guard can join. Wu Wei feel bored, as he was expecting some new gossip. He slightly smiled by thinking, with the talent like Nangong Chio, even if he piked her, she'd need a decade to earn a spot among his guards. By seeing him laughing, Meiqiao hit the table, and shouted at him, as why he was laughing, as if she said something wrong, and suddenly Shui calls Meiqiao to look at the person, who they were. She gets shocked by seeing her idol Nangong Chio. She rejoiced happily. Nangong called Wu Wei. He didn't responded to her call, and her guards, seeing his arrogance, immediately attacked him with her sword, but Wu Wei slightly tilted his head, which led the sword to cut the table in front of him into two pieces, and asked him, is he deaf, as her lady was calling him. She was Nie Xiaolong, Nangong clan guard. Wu Wei, looking steadily into her eyes, asked for an explanation for her action. Shou asked him, warned he was from Lu family. By hearing her words, Meiqiao sees Wu Wei is an infamous scoundrel. Shui tells them, as he was the person who got kicked out from Lu family for allegedly harassing Su family heiress 7 years ago, and gaining the title, capital shame, and even his father was caught up and thrown out along with him. By hearing to their words, which made Wu Wei face rage and in anger, she asked him, wasn't he unemployed right now? He says them, as he didn't harass anyone. She, by taking the engagement contract, tells him, as they were once engaged, and she was here only for the reason, and throws the engagement contact at his face, by calling off her engagement with the capital shame. By seeing this, Mei Chao gets shocked, as her idol was very aggressive. Cho asks him, is there any objection for him? By seeing her disgusting attitude towards him, anger enveloped Wu Wei's face, and a strong purple aura was started to emanate from his body, which lead to the things around them to break for that strong aura. Everyone around Wu Wei gets shocked by see things broken suddenly. Xiaolong tell her lady, as there might be powerful presence nearby. Zhou stayed silent for a movement, and Wu Wei, rubbing the blood mark on his face, looked at Zhou intensely.